In the heart of a bustling city, there existed an artist's studio, shrouded in the quietude that only a creative sanctuary could offer. Amidst the clutter of paintbrushes and half-finished canvases, Julian, a painter known for his evocative landscapes, found himself lost in a sea of uninspired thoughts. The world outside buzzed with life, yet his canvas remained stark, as empty as his recent thoughts on art. The days rolled on, each as uneventful as the last, with Julian's muse seemingly having deserted him. He would often sit by the large window, gazing out at the city's skyline, hoping for a flicker of inspiration. It was on one such evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow on the buildings, that he noticed her, a woman with an air of serenity, reading quietly in the park across the street. Intrigued, Julian found himself watching her from his window over the following days. There was something about her, perhaps the way the evening light played with her hair, or her deep immersion in her book, that captivated him. She was like a living painting, one that changed with the passing light, yet remained timeless in its beauty. Compelled by a newfound inspiration, Julian began to sketch. His hands moved with a passion reignited, capturing not just the woman's form, but the tranquility she exuded. The studio, once a tomb of creativity, now brimmed with the energy of artistic rebirth. Each stroke of his brush felt like a step closer to a world he had long forgotten. As the sketch neared completion, Julian realized that his admiration for the mysterious woman had grown. He longed to meet her, to learn about the person who unwittingly became his muse. With a mixture of excitement and apprehension, he decided that the next evening he would leave his sanctuary and venture into the park, hopeful for an encounter that would breathe more life into his art. The next evening, Julian's heart throbbed with a mix of nervousness and excitement as he made his way to the park. The setting sun cast a warm golden hue over the greenery, creating a scene reminiscent of his own paintings. He spotted her, the serene woman from his sketches, seated at her usual spot, her attention absorbed in the pages of her novel. Gathering his courage, Julian approached her, his voice slightly trembling as he introduced himself. To his surprise, she greeted him with a gentle smile, her eyes reflecting the calm he had seen from afar. Her name was Elise, a writer who found her own creative solace in the quiet of the park. As they conversed, the world around them seemed to fade into a backdrop of hushed tones and soft evening breezes. They shared stories of their artistic journeys, finding common ground in their search for inspiration and the challenges of creative expression. Julian was captivated by her insights and the eloquent way she spoke of her passion for writing. Time slipped away unnoticed as they delved into discussions about art, life, and the often invisible threads that connect one's work to their soul. Julian felt a connection he hadn't experienced in years, a bond forged in the crucible of creative spirits. Elise's presence ignited a spark in him, fueling a desire to paint not just her image, but the essence of the tranquility she embodied. As the evening drew to a close, Julian and Elise agreed to meet again, their parting filled with the unspoken promise of a burgeoning friendship, perhaps even something deeper. Julian walked back to his studio, his mind alive with ideas, and his heart lighter than it had been in months. He knew that this encounter would be the dawn of a new chapter in his art, and possibly his life. Over the following weeks, Julian and Elise's meetings in the park became a cherished ritual. Each encounter was a blend of shared laughs, thoughtful discussions, and comfortable silences. As autumn leaves began to paint the park in hues of amber and gold, their connection deepened, nourished by the mutual respect and understanding they held for each other's artistic endeavours. Julian's art transformed with Elise in his life. His canvases, once dominated by landscapes, now danced with the vibrancy of human emotion. Elise became his muse in more ways than one, her presence not just inspiring his work, but also bringing a sense of peace and fulfillment to his once solitary existence. Meanwhile, Elise found in Julian a kindred spirit, someone who understood the highs and lows of a creative life. She shared her writings with him, her words flowing effortlessly, enriched by the new experiences and emotions that their growing bond brought forth. Her stories, once confined to the pages of her notebook, now found a willing and appreciative audience in Julian. One crisp autumn afternoon, as they sat together on a park bench, wrapped in the warmth of a shared blanket, Julian presented Elise with a painting. It was a portrait of her, captured in a moment of serene contemplation, surrounded by the golden glow of the park. Elise was moved, her eyes glistening with unshed tears at the depth of emotion Julian had poured into the canvas. In that moment, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the art that had brought them together, Julian and Elise realized that their relationship had blossomed into something profound. It was more than friendship, more than mutual admiration. It was a love fostered by shared passions and deep understanding. The park, with its tranquil beauty, had become a sanctuary for their hearts. As winter approached, the park's vibrant colours faded to gentle whites and greys, mirroring the quiet maturity of Julian and Elise's love. They continued to meet, now in cosy cafes or at Julian's studio, where they'd spend hours creating and sharing, enveloped in the warmth of each other's company. One snowy evening, as they sat by the window in Julian's studio, watching the snowflakes gently fall, Elise read aloud from her latest story. Julian listened intently, captivated not just by her words, but by the emotion and soul she infused into every sentence. Her stories had grown, influenced by the depth of their relationship, into narratives that spoke of love, hope, and the intricacies of human connections. Later, they shared a canvas, their brushes dancing together in a symphony of colours and strokes. This collaborative piece was different from anything Julian had ever created. It was a fusion of their artistic souls, a visual representation of their journey together, intertwining their individual styles into a harmonious composition. As they painted, their conversation turned to dreams and future aspirations. Julian expressed his desire to exhibit their collaborative work, to share the story of their meeting and the profound impact it had on their art. Elise, ever supportive, agreed, her heart swelling with pride and love for the man who had not only become her muse, but her partner in life. That night, as they sat together, surrounded by their creations, they made plans for the future. They envisioned exhibitions, book launches, and endless days of creating together. In each other, they had found not just love but a partnership that transcended the usual bounds, a relationship built on mutual creativity and respect. The exhibition opening was a celebration not just of art but of love. Julian and Elise's collaborative pieces adorned the walls of the gallery, each telling a story of their journey together. Guests were captivated by the depth and emotion in each piece, the colours and textures speaking volumes of the bond between the two artists. Among the displayed artworks, the centerpiece was the first portrait Julian had painted of Elise. It held a special place in their hearts, symbolizing the beginning of their journey. Viewers were drawn to it, feeling the tranquility and love that emanated from the canvas. As the evening progressed, Julian took a moment to address the gathered crowd. He spoke of inspiration, creativity, and the unexpected ways life can bring people together. He shared their story, how a muse can be found in the most unanticipated places, and how love can deeply intertwine with art. Elise, standing by his side, then read a passage from her latest book, a story inspired by their relationship. Her words, eloquent and touching, left the audience in silent admiration. It was a perfect fusion of art and life, a testament to the power of shared passions and the beauty that can arise from it. As the night came to a close, Julian and Elise stood hand in hand, looking at the art that surrounded them. They had created more than just paintings and stories. They had created a life together, rich in art and love. They knew that this exhibition was just the beginning, with countless blank canvases and unwritten pages waiting to be filled with their shared experiences.